Hello children, I am here with another chapter of class 11th chemistry, that is structure of atom. In this part we will discuss about Bohr's atomic model. Okay, and this model of atom is based on the postulate given by Bohr's atomic model. Now see children, what are the postulate of this atomic model? See, first point is that the electron move around the nucleus in a fixed circular path called orbit or energy shell or stationary energy level or energy states. Okay, so these all terms are related to this circular path only. You can see here there are several circular paths. So these are known as orbit or energy level or stationary energy levels, okay, energy shells and energy states. So this term was given by Bohr, and he said that in this orbit only the electron will be present in an atom. Okay, whenever you are finding any electron, it will be here in this fixed orbit. It may be here, it may be here, it may be here, it may be here, but not in between these two orbit. Okay, this in this space it will be not there. It will be always in this fixed circular path. Okay, and in this path only electron will revolve around the nucleus. Now next is that while revolving around the nucleus in a fixed orbit, electrons neither loses or gain energy. Okay, that is, energy of electron in the orbit is fixed. It means that children, when an electron is moving around the orbit, it is not losing its electron. Whatever energy is associated with this orbit, it will remain same when electron is moving around this orbit. Okay, when it is moving in this orbit, the energy of this orbit will remain same. So this is the second point. While moving in the fixed orbit, electron is neither losing energy or gaining energy. Okay, and each orbit has fixed energy. This, suppose it is hydrogen atom, so energy of this first orbit will be minus 13.6 electron volt. This is fixed. Okay, so this is fixed for each orbit of an atom. Now third point is that electron will revolve only in that orbit in which angular momentum of the electron is whole number or integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. Okay, so angular momentum will be equal to h upon 2 pi in the nth shell. N is representing the shell number, and this will be always in whole number multiple. Whole number multiple means n will be always in whole number. N cannot be half, 3 upon 4 like that. It will be always, it cannot be like this. It will be always 1, 2, 3 and so on. And angular momentum is equal to mvr. Okay, m is the mass of electron, v is the velocity of electron, and r is the radius of nucleus to the shell on which we are taking electrons. So from nucleus to the shell, distance is the radius. Okay, and what is angular momentum, children? See, electron is revolving in that orbit. Okay, and when it is moving in this orbit, some amount of energy, or you can say momentum, is acting on this at 90 degrees angle. So see here, when electron is here, it will be 90 degree. When electron is here, this will be 90 degree. So wherever electron is moving like this, momentum is acting on this electron, and that momentum is known as angular momentum. It is never in fraction, that I have told you, and is never in fraction. It is always a whole number ratio. And therefore you can say that angular momentum of electron is quantized. Quantized means it is available in prescribed or fixed amount. You can say it is available in fixed amount. Whatever angular momentum is with that electron, it is always in the fixed amount. It will never change. So children, you can see that the electron will revolve only in that orbit in which angular momentum, that is equal to h, it is equal to the multiple or whole number multiple of h upon 2 pi. Okay, it will, if it is in the fraction, suppose it is in the fraction, then you can say that electron will not revolve in that orbit. Electron will never revolve in that orbit in which n is given in the fraction. Okay, or this angular momentum is always fixed or quantized. Okay, it is present in the fixed amount or quantized. Now next point is that when the electron, when the energy is absorbed by electron, then it may jump from lower energy level to higher energy level. Okay, and when energy is lost, the electron will come back. The electron will come back from higher to lower energy level. Okay, electron will come back from higher to lower energy level. So what does it mean, children? That means wherever energy is given, okay, when energy you are providing to the electron, it will get excited and it will jump from lower to higher energy level. And when it is losing its energy, or it is lost in terms of radiation, when energy is lost by the electron, then you can say it will come back from higher to lower energy level. And the difference of this is called delta E is equal to E2 minus E1, where E2 is the higher energy level and E1 is lower energy level. And this is equal to hv, where h is Planck constant and v is the velocity of electron. Now see how this electron is jumping from lower to higher and from higher to lower. See what is happening when energy is absorbed by the electron. Suppose it is here in the lower energy level, it will jump from here to here. It is higher energy level. And what will be the energy difference? Delta E, that is energy difference, will be E2, higher energy to minus lower energy. So you will minus E2 minus E1, that is equal to HV. And when energy is released by the electron, what is happening here? It is absorbed by electron and energy is released by electron. Suppose electron is here in this higher energy level. After losing its energy, it will get down or it will jump back to the lower energy level. Why this jumping is happening, children? Why electron is jumping from higher to lower and lower to higher? So you can say that this is due to this energy. This is the formula for energy. We will discuss it later. Energy of electron, small e is there, is equal to minus 13.6 Z square upon N square electron volt. This electron volt is the unit for this energy. Okay, you can say this is in the transition or excited state. We all know when an electron is in the excited state, it will jump like us. When we are excited, we always express that excitement while jumping and moving here and there like that. So electron is when excited, it will also start jumping and it will jump from lower to higher energy level. And when its energy is down, it is losing energy, so it will come back to the lower energy level. The formula for energy is this given, where Z is atomic number, that you all know, and N is the number of shell. Now see children, what is happening for hydrogen atom. I am taking this, or Bose has explained all this property based on hydrogen atom. So for hydrogen atom, the value of Z is equal to 1. Okay, the value of Z is equal to 1 because atomic number of hydrogen is 1. So we will put Z over here Suppose it is for n is equal to 1, first shell. Okay, and this is n2, second shell. Then it will come next shell as n is equal to 3. So like this you can take out the energy of each orbit. Just now I have explained that each orbit has fixed energy. Okay, and in that fixed energy only electron will revolve. Suppose it is first shell, that is n is equal to 1. So you will put the value over here. Then you will get 1 square and atomic number also 1 square. So it will be minus 13.6 electron volt. That will be the energy even for first shell. That is 13.6 minus 13.6 electron volt. Like that, if you will take the energy of second orbit of hydrogen atom, Z will remain 1 only. N is equal to 2. N square you will get 4. Okay, N square is 4. So when it will get divided by 4, you will get minus 3.4 electron volt. This is the fixed energy for second orbit. Okay, this energy will remain fixed for every hydrogen atom. Now like this, if n is equal to 3, that is 9. 3 square is 9. And Z is again 1, we are taking for hydrogen. So 1 upon 9, it will be equal to minus 1.5 electron volt. And this also is fixed for third orbit if electron is jumping from this to this. Now see children, what about these range? Why electron is not coming in between minus 3.4? Okay, why these two? Some energy level or electron volt is in between also, 10, 9, 5 like this. So but electron is not there. So this means that whenever there is gain of loss of energy, and that is equal to these 2 or 3 energy levels then only electron can jump. I am trying to explain you one more time children. Suppose n is equal to 1, energy is minus 13.6. Okay, n is equal to 2, energy is minus 3.4 electron volt. Okay, now children, suppose this electron wants to jump from lower to higher energy level. That means it must be jumping from minus 13.6 to minus 3.4. So how much energy is required? So you can say that if it is gaining 10 electron volts, see here 13.6 plus 10, 13.2. If it is gaining this amount of energy, electron is gaining 10.2 electron volt, then only you will get 3.4 electron volt energy. That means whenever electron wants to jump from N1 to N2, it will gain 10.2 electron volt, then only it can jump to N2. If it is less than or more than 10, then it will not be in the N2 energy level. Okay, is it clear? These energy are fixed children. Whenever you will find electron, you will find the electron in these shells or energy levels only. If it is minus 13.6, then only you will find the electron in this. There is no space in between these energy levels in which electron can occupy. Okay, here electron cannot occupy. There is certain fixed cutoff, you can say. If you have to take the admission in some college or university like that, so there is some cutoff marks. So for this energy level, cutoff marks is minus 13.6. Then only electron can enter here. Otherwise there is no place for electron. Okay, if it is getting minus 3.4, then electron will get this orbit. Okay, if it is in between, suppose it is 8.2 2. So see here in hydrogen atom 8.2 energy level is not present. So 8.2 if your electron is getting, so it will not get any place in these orbits. Okay, there is fixed energy, a fixed cutoff marks is there, and if it is minus 13.6 you will get n is equal to 1. If it is minus 3.4 then only you will get n2. If it is minus 1.5 electron volt then you will be in n3. If it is in between them, there is no place. Okay, electron will get no place if it is in between. Understood? Here also no place. So these are the fixed orbit in which electron can be placed, and for that placement they need this fixed energy for each orbit. This was the main postulate proposed by Bose. Okay. Now here children, it is an electron gain or lose only that energy which is equal to the difference in the two energy levels. So you can say that when energy in the first shell, electron will gain that the difference between these two energy, and then only it will move to the second energy level. Okay. So here just like I told you that n is equal to 1 then energy is this, and n is equal to 2 then energy is this, and the difference of these two, that is, see what is the difference, 13.6 and 3.4. So you will get 10.2. So this is the difference, delta E. So you can say that from energy level 1, this is 1, electron will gain this energy, that is the difference between these two, delta E. Electron will gain this delta E energy, that is 10.2, and now it will jump by gaining this energy to this energy level, that is second energy level, and here energy of electron orbit is minus 3.4. Okay, it is clear now children? You can say that energy level 1 will gain the difference between these two. Now suppose here minus 3.4, see here minus 3.4 and next is minus 1.5. So when you will add these two, it means you will subtract E2 minus E1. Okay, so what you will get? Sorry, you will 14 minus 5 is 9, and here it is 2 minus 1 is 1. So when this orbit, that is second orbit, will gain this delta E energy, that is 1.9, okay, that is 1.9, then only it will move towards the third energy level shell, that is n is equal to 3. So here it is E2 is minus 3.4. When it will gain the difference between these two energy, that is 1.9, then only it will be 1.5 electron volt. So this is the energy change when electron is jumping from lower energy to higher energy level. Now some merits of this postulate is that an atom is stable, its electron move in fixed path or orbit with fixed energy. This was the merit of this postulate. It states that when electrons are moving in its fixed orbit with fixed energy, okay, this one is also fixed, orbit is also fixed, and energy of that orbit is also fixed. So at that time you can say the atom is stable atom when the orbit is also fixed and energy of that orbit is also fixed. Now second merit is that while revolving in the path, that is orbit, two forces act, that is centripetal force and electrostatic force. See here, two forces are, first is electrostatic force and second is centripetal force. Okay, so these two forces are acting. Now see how they are acting. See, electrostatic forces acting when there is two oppositely charged particle is present. See here, electron is minus charge particle and proton is plus charge particle. So you can say the force of attraction between these two particles is the electrostatic force of attraction. Understood? What is electrostatic force? It is acting between two oppositely charged particles, and this is called electrostatic force. Now children, see here, what is number of proton? You can say that in an neutral atom, the number of proton is equal to the number of electron. Okay? The number of proton is equal to the number of electron. But here, see, proton is equal to electron. But here in the center of the atom, mass is present, and that mass is sum of proton plus neutron. So again you can say that proton plus neutron. And what is proton? That is equal to atomic number, that is Z. Suppose it is a carbon atom. Carbon atom means 6 atomic number. For carbon atom, 6 is atomic number. So you can say 6 electron is present and 6 proton is present because atomic number of carbon is 6. So here you can write, this is atomic number, that is Z into E, that is electron. So Ze is equal to the number of proton. Okay. How many protons are there in the nucleus? That is equal to the atomic number, that is 6, and 6 electron is present. So you can say that Ze is equal to the number of proton. So the first equation comes like this. The electrostatic force of attraction between two oppositely charged particles, that is E and Ze. Why it is Ze? Because we have written just now here that proton is equal to Ze. Z is atomic number and E is electron. So 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught E, and now P is written as Ze. So E and Ze upon R square, and R is the radius of the nucleus and the orbit. So this is R square. So this you can write 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Ze square. This E and E will combine. It will give you E square upon R square. So this will be your electrostatic force of attraction. Okay. Now one more force is acting, that is centripetal force. Okay. Centripetal force. So it is equal to mv square upon R. Centripetal force is mv square upon R. So at certain point, electron is the force, these two are equal. Okay, since these two force is equal, that's why electron is moving in the fixed orbit. Okay, because the electrostatic force which is acting between nucleus and electron, that and this centripetal force, these two will be equal, then only electron will revolve in the fixed orbit. If any one is more, then the path of the electron will get disturbed. So at when electrostatic force of attraction is equal to centripetal force, then you can write 1 upon 4 pi Ze square upon R square is equal to mv square upon R. So you can write it like this. So this will be your equation number 3rd. Okay. So children, remember these equation, so it will be easier for you to solve the numericals. Now some numericals will be there which will be based on Bohr's atomic radii, and in your syllabus children only this equation is there. Okay, this equation is there, that means radius of n shell is equal to n square h square epsilon naught upon pi m Ze square, and its unit is Armstrong, that is unit of radius. Okay, so this will be your formula for the radius. Now see children, you have to derive this radius formula when there is any change in mass or the charge of electron. Okay, so this will be in your syllabus for ICSE. Okay, and this is the derivation part that is not in your syllabus, but you must know for competitive exams. So again we will take this from the first equation, that we have angular momentum is equal to mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi, that we have done. Now we need only radius, we will not take velocity. So we have to remove velocity from this equation. So how we can do? First of all, we will take square on both sides, this side also, this side also. So after taking square on both sides, this will be equal to n square h square upon 4 pi square, and mvr square will be m square v square r square. Now this equation will become this when you are taking square on both sides. Now children, what you will do? You will divide this square of first equation by third equation. Just now I have told you third equation, that is ze square is equal to upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square is equal to mv square upon r. So this is your third equation. So you will divide this square upon the third equation, that is ze square upon 4 pi epsilon naught square r square mv square upon r. So cancel the term which is common. So 4 is common, so it will get cancelled. Pi and pi will cancel, 1 pi will cancel. See here m square and here m is there, so m and m will cancel. V square and v square, it is cancelled now. So only left that is radius. Okay. See here it is left n square h square upon pi, and this will go up, so it will be reversed epsilon naught r square upon ze square. And this side it is mr square, that will be left here. 1 upon r will go up, so it will be r upon 1. So here you can say that r square and r square, again it will get cancelled. So what is left? N square h square upon pi. This m will come here. M epsilon naught ze square is equal to r. So this equation will be there only. So like this you can derive the radius equation, where epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space, h is Planck constant, E is the charge of electron, m is the mass of electron. Okay. Now see children, you will take out the common or constant in one bracket. This h square is Planck constant, it is permittivity of the free state, that is also constant. Pi constant, mass of electron is constant, charge of electron is constant. You will put this in the bracket and you will keep out n square upon z. Okay. After putting the values of these constant, you will get 0.529. You will get r in nth shell is equal to 0.529 into n square upon z. This is again in the Armstrong. And this value you will get when you will put the value of all the constant, it will be equal to 0.529. And in some book children, you will find that 0.529 is equal to 0.53. So these two values are same, or it may be different in some book, but you can reuse any two of these. Now see here, one numerical, it is related to this equation. Find the radius of first and second shell of hydrogen atom. So what you will do? First shell means n is equal to 1 and second shell means n is equal to 2. Same formula you will take from here, 0.53 into n square upon z. Okay children, you will follow steps because there is step marking. For formula also there is step marking. So you will start by writing the chemical formula, the numerical formula and the given value. Given value means n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, and for hydrogen atom z is equal to 1. This is your given part. Second step, the formula you are using for the numerical, and third step you will do the calculation. So for first shell, R1 is equal to 0.53, n square is 1 square Z is 1 only, so it will be 0.53 Armstrong for first shell. Radius will be, this is the radius for R1 is equal to 0.53. R2, that means we are in the second shell, N value will be 2. So 2 square upon 1, because again we are taking for hydrogen atom only. So 2 square is 4. So when you will multiply this, you will get 2.12 Armstrong. That will be the radius from nucleus to second shell. N is equal to 2 and here it is N is equal to 1. So this is the radius for hydrogen atom when N is equal to 1 and N is equal to 2. Now children, this is your homework, or you will do this by yourself. Which of the following will have same radius as first shell of hydrogen atom? First shell means N is equal to 1. So you have to, in this question, the element is given here, atomic number is given here with its value, and N is given for each element. Okay, so from here you will get N and Z, put it here in this equation. Now you will get the value. Now which one value is equal to the hydrogen in the first shell, that is 0.53 Armstrong. That will be your correct answer. Now next is velocity. Again we will start from equation number 1. Angular momentum is equal to nh upon 2 pi. So now this time we need velocity. We have to remove r. Just now we have done calculation for r, that is equal to n square h square epsilon naught upon pi m z square. You will put the value of r over here in place of this r, mvr. So after doing this, cancel out the common factor. nh will cancel out from this square nh. Pi and pi, m and this m will cancel out. So what is remained here? Velocity of nth shell is equal to z square will move that side, that is z square, and nh epsilon naught will be here, and t2 is already here. So velocity equation will be z square upon 2 nh epsilon naught, where E h epsilon naught is the constant, that is charge of electron, Planck constant, permittivity constant, these all are constant. So take them in the bracket, you will put it here, all the values. Now you will get 2.18 into 10 to the power 6 into Z by N, where Z is atomic mass, atomic number, and N is number of shell, and its unit is meter per second. Okay, velocity unit is meter per second. So this is your shortcut of velocity, and this one is your main velocity equation. You have to remember both equation, children. Okay. Now next is energy. When electron is revolving around the nucleus in the fixed orbit, it has two energy, kinetic energy as well as potential energy. So when you are taking kinetic energy, you will use half mv square. That is the formula for kinetic energy. Ek is equal to half mv square. You will put the value of v. Just now we have calculated from the equation. mv square will be ze. So here you will put the value of v, that is ze square upon 2 nh epsilon naught. Its square you will put here because it is v square. So this v value will be in the square. So after doing square you will get z square e4, because e2 is there. This 2 will be 4, n square h square epsilon naught square. Okay, and after the multiplication you will get 1 upon 8 m z square e4 upon n square h square epsilon naught square. You will again put the bracket for all the constant, mass of electron, charge of electron, 8 is constant, Planck constant, permittivity constant. So after putting the value of all the constant, you will get 13.6 z square upon n square electron volt. Electron volt is the unit for kinetic energy. Now this is your equation number 8. Now about potential energy, EP. EP is acting between two charged particles. One is Ze, that I have explained why it is Ze, that is in plus sign, and minus electron. So here when you are taking potential energy, you will consider electron and proton with their sign. Okay, that's why I have written minus electron, that is minus sign for electron, and plus Ze will be the charge for proton. Proton value is Ze and it is plus upon R. Okay. So this is the potential energy. Now see 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught minus Ze square, because it is E Ze. Okay. So it will be Ze square upon R. So R value is n square h square epsilon naught upon pi m Ze square. So it is 1 upon R. So it will, the value you will put here in the reverse order, that will be pi m Ze square upon n square h square epsilon naught. Okay. So after doing this, cancel out the common that factor which can be cancelled, pi and pi, here it will be cancelled. So what is left? Minus, you will take the charge over here, minus m z, and z is Ze square, e square and e square is e4 square. Okay, 4 is here only, n square h square is here, epsilon and epsilon will make epsilon square, epsilon naught square. Now you have to make, or you have to divide or multiply it upon by 2 by 2. Okay, you have to multiply this equation by 2 by 2. I will tell you later why we are multiplying here by 2 by 2. Okay, so after doing the multiplication, the equation will change into 2 upon 8. Okay, here it will be 2 and here it will be 8. Now again put the bracket and all the constant in the bracket, mass of electron, charge of electron, 8 is constant, Planck constant, and permittivity of free space is constant. So put all the values here. Just now I have told you in the kinetic energy that this value is equal to 13.6. So here we are taking minus. So here you will put minus for that. Okay, and into Ze 2Z square upon n square electron volt. Okay, so this will be your equation. See here children, me4 upon 8 h square epsilon naught square is equal to 13.6. So this value we are using for potential energy also. See, me4 8 h square epsilon naught square is equal to 13.6, and this minus will come here, 2 Z square upon n square. This is electron volt. Now what is total energy children? Total energy is sum of potential energy and kinetic energy. Just now you have calculated potential energy, so you can write minus 2 13.6 into Z square upon n square, and kinetic energy is in plus, so it will be 13.6 into Z square upon n square. So from this, when you will add these two, you will get minus 13.6 into Z square upon n square electron volt. This is your total energy. Like this, see children, suppose this factor is common in both sides. So if you are writing x for that common factor, so minus 2x plus x, what you will get? Minus x only. Okay, what is left behind? That is minus x only. So that's why it is minus 13.6 into Z square upon n square electron volt. Now see children, for hydrogen atom, I am telling you again and again, Bohr's atomic theory is related to hydrogen atom. So you have to write the energy for first, second, third and fourth shell of hydrogen atom. So by putting the value over here, you will get for first shell energy is minus 13.6, for second shell energy is minus 3.4 electron volt, for third shell energy is minus 1.5 electron volt, and fourth shell it is minus 0.85 electron volt. So try to remember these 4 energy level of hydrogen and its value also. Now see here children, energy of electron at infinity is 0. What does it mean? It means that when electron is out of the boundary of an atom or far away from nucleus, that means there is no attraction between nucleus and electron. At that time you can say there is no force of attraction between electron and nucleus, and at this point you can say energy at infinity of the electron is equal to 0. Okay, so why this is 0? Because the electron is out of reach of the nucleus. Okay, and why it is considered in minus, energy is considered in minus, because when electron is near to the nucleus, it will get attracted by the nucleus. Okay, when electron is very near to the nucleus, see this is the nucleus, and positive and negative will attract each other. So while revolving in this path, energy of electron will slightly decrease, and at one time it will become less than 0 also. Electron will become less than 0. So at this moment you can say this is negative value of energy. Okay, energy has negative value.